Okay, welcome. So today is our move into stillness meeting, our somatic explorations meeting. And so what is it that what is it that we can, I want to set the proper expectation. So what are we doing here? What is the aim? Okay, so the aim, the intention is to is self-discovery. So it's to learn about yourself through direct experience, and it's to learn very specifically about the unnecessary effort that we make unconsciously and habitually, and that's pretty much it. And strange as it may seem, or unlikely as it may seem, based on our notions about how things are supposed to be and how, what the nature of our problems are and how we need to fix them and so forth and so on. Actually, just the awareness, just this discovery in and of itself, if we're true to it, if we really commit to it, persist in that, then what happens is that takes care of everything. Because what we can discover really is that what's been happening, that we've been perceiving as a problem, is not really a problem. Actually, it's really the call for us to look and inquire and discover what it is that we've been doing unconsciously that's painful, uncomfortable, distressing, limiting, and so forth. So we use movements in these meetings as a way of exploring for several reasons. One, because I like them. Another is that they can give benefit of greater ease of movement, reduction of chronic pain and discomfort, which all inquiry can offer, but sometimes the somatic explorations offer a more have more of that benefit more readily available. So that's one thing. But then it goes beyond that. These explorations really fundamentally are showing us how everything in our experience is interconnected. So the way we falsely make a division and think that the physical pain or physical discomfort is somehow separate from the emotional pain or discomfort, and that that's somehow separate from our behavior, and that that's somehow separate from our relationships, and that's somehow separate from, on and on and on. But actually, through these explorations, what we can discover is that it's so much more direct, intimate, and simpler than that, and that actually it's all interconnected, and that it has everything to do with our perception, or these impressions that we accept unconsciously as reality. Whereas in fact, through the exploration, what we discover is that those impressions are just impressions. They're filters or lens through which we have perceived, and that has skewed our understanding of ourselves in reality. So through this awareness, we free up the stuck energy and we gain more mobility at all levels. So we finally have choice. And so a couple of things to start. Unlike most types of movement things that you might do, exercises, stretching, etc., these explorations are to be done with gentleness as the guiding principle. So we're never aiming to produce pain. We don't, the motto of no pain, no gain does not whatsoever apply here. I sometimes say no pain is gain. So we're actually discovering that when we experience pain, it's because of something that we're doing. And that doing is something that's a self-inflicted violence. And as I've said, it's unconscious. So as we become conscious of it, just know that process can be sometimes we might experience that as awkward, uncomfortable. So there are many ways that we can experience it, but pain needn't be one of them. If you're experiencing pain, then slow down, ease up, breathe, and see how you can be more gentle. We're also not stretching or strengthening, although there will be, when these explorations are done correctly with awareness, slowly and gently, they will produce greater strength and length and suppleness in the body and in the mind and in the entire organism and beyond. But it's a totally different approach. And so it's best just to drop all notions of how you presently perceive yourself and what your aims and goals are. Okay, so today we're going to do some explorations of the neck and jaw, but really it's of the whole self. So nothing is separate from anything else. We're going to do these explorations seated. So if you're able to do them seated, that would be excellent. If you cannot do them seated, then you can imagine doing them seated, or you could see if you can just explore them from another position. Just understand that if you're doing them from another position, you'll have to make modifications. But another important point here is don't think that you have to do something exactly according to the instruction, although it is always important that you're gentle and that you do things with awareness. But so long as you follow the basic principles, the specific movements themselves are of secondary importance. Now, some of the specific movements do have benefits, but my goal with these explorations and these meetings is to facilitate an awakening in you so that you gain confidence in your ability to explore your own experience. So the basic principles that we learn through these explorations are really of primary importance. Those can then be generalized and you can apply them to all movement in your life. And when you do, then the benefits just continue to multiply. So you can always make modifications as needed, but when you make the modifications, stay with the basic principles. So the basic principles, again, gentle, slow, done with awareness. And also you want to make sure that you're able to breathe. Now, breathing means, in this case, what I mean is that you're able to breathe with ease and with an experience of at least some degree of pleasure and comfort in your breathing. So if the breath is strained or if you're holding your breath, what that indicates is just that you're trying something beyond your present capacities. You can also look out for other telltale signs, like if you're scrunching your forehead, or you're clenching your jaw, or you're wiggling your tongue around, or you're squeezing your hands into fists. These are all also indications that you're moving or attempting something that's beyond your current confidence, at the very least. And so if you have the courage and the willingness to slow it down, to do less, even sometimes to the point where you're not even making any visible movement, but you're just imagining it, you will get much more benefit than if you continue to indulge the habitual tendencies toward violence. And this is, again, I point out the violence because most of the time it's invisible to us because it's so commonplace, it's normalized, and so we don't recognize it. But actually, as you start to slow down, as you start to really understand these principles, embody the principles, then you'll start to see what I'm talking about in terms of the violence and how that plays out at so many levels in ways that had previously been invisible. So have the patience, the courage, and the willingness to do less, to slow down, and to utilize the basic principles. You'll get a tremendous benefit if you do so. So if you're able to do it seated, then we'll be seated. You may sit anywhere that works for you. If you're seated on a chair, if possible, it would be great if it was a chair that had a firm, flat surface, rather than one that's overly cushioned. Ideally, it's not one that's sucking you back into it, because that's somewhat counter to our intention. Of course, you can always make use of whatever you have available. So we can always explore whatever the circumstances, wherever you may be. But if it's possible to sit on a chair or a stool that has a firm, flat surface, and then to sit toward the edge, not in an uncomfortable way, but so that you're not slumping back. Ideally, you're not leaning back against a backrest. You're able to support yourself vertically. So that's the ideal, if possible. If not, then, as I say, you make do with what you have. You may also sit on the floor if that's comfortable for you, as I'm doing, but whatever is fine. So let's start by just taking a moment to just check in and notice our starting point. So how are you feeling? You might want to close the eyes as I'm doing. What is the experience? And just notice here, non-judgmentally, just notice the experience. So it's not about judging, oh, this is bad, I shouldn't be doing this, I should be more comfortable, I should be more relaxed, my mind is too busy, I don't even know how to breathe, I'm so uptight. It's not about having those judgments. It's just about noticing whatever it is that's happening and making space for that, because as long as we're focused on judgment and problem, then what we're doing is we're feeding back into the nervous system that there is a problem, that we have to be on guard, that we have to fix the problem, so we have to be uptight, we can't relax, and so it creates a vicious cycle. So here we're just non-judgmentally noticing and acknowledging whatever is in this moment. And then as you do so, you might notice wherever there, what I call low-hanging fruit. So whatever you notice is something that you could let go of, something that's unnecessary that you could just surrender right now. So it might be that you notice that you're squeezing the face and you could relax that, or it might be that you notice that you're holding tension in the chest and you can relax that, or it might be that you notice that you're sucking your belly in and you could let that go, or it might be that you notice that you have some strain or tension in the thighs and you could let that go, because the truth is you're supported right now. If you're seated, your body is supported, so the legs are supported. If you're seated upright, then the vertebrae of the spine are perfectly capable of taking that load if you surrender to them. So everything that we do here is ultimately about surrendering to the intrinsic support that is here in life at all levels, including in the physical structure of the body as the skeleton. So we can actually start to learn to trust that, and that creates a positive feedback loop in which it's a virtuous cycle of trust, of rest, of relaxation, of support. So wherever the low-hanging fruit is, just notice that and surrender that, let that go. Trust and trust in the intrinsic support here. So see if you can discover that. And of course, sometimes that's very challenging. So if that happens to be the case, just notice that too, without judgment. Okay, so now, if your eyes are closed, you may open the eyes and we'll begin some movement. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to explore just turning the head slowly. But before you turn the head, what I'd like you to do is first turn the eyes. So choose a side. I'm going to turn the head to the right. So I'm going to turn the eyes to the right and then follow with the head. And do this slowly, just so that you can notice the experience and notice where things are smooth and notice when they're not smooth. And don't turn beyond where it's totally comfortable. So for you, you may not be turning nearly as far as I'm turning. It's possible you just turn a tiny little bit, but you have to be honest. So just where you have the comfort and confidence to turn the head smoothly, but let the eyes lead. So we're rediscovering, most of us have fallen out of sync with our eyes, but really we can learn to let our eyes lead the head. And then turn the eyes back to center and let the head follow and come back to center. And remember, whatever it is that you experience is perfect. And that's, when I say perfect, I mean it's perfect for you in this moment. So receive it, and it could be anything. It could be, wow, this is so pleasurable, I'm so happy. Or it could be, oh, this is so boring, I hate it. Or it could be, I can't believe that I can't turn my head so far, I'm a loser. Anything that arises, any sensation, any memory, any thought, anything is fine. It's perfect, because you're becoming consciously aware, non-judgmentally, hopefully, of the conditioning that's been producing the limitations in your life. Now let's do the same to the other side. So turn the eyes first and then let the head follow. Slowly and smoothly, only as far as you can do with comfort and confidence. And really be honest. So notice if you have a tendency to be dishonest, to push through, to ignore, and just notice that that's a form of violence and that you don't want that violence in your life. So you can choose, you actually have that power. You can choose peace now. You can choose self-love now. You can choose to be kind, gentle, and nourishing to yourself. And then turn the eyes back to center and let the head follow. And then when you have the head back to center, just notice where the eyes are. Are they in terms of left and right, and also up and down? So do they feel balanced, relaxed, or is there a strain? And can you just let the eyes relax? In fact, not only left and right, up and down, but also forward and back. Notice, do the eyes seem to be bugging out of the head a little bit? Can you let them retract a little bit? Imagine that it's like they're on wheels and they can just roll a little bit back into the head. That might seem strange, but just let them sink into the head a little bit and relax. And then notice the connection of the eyes and the skull and the spine. So can the eyes, now this might seem strange, but if you just let it happen, you might find that it's possible to let the eyes just be at rest and aligned inside of the skull. And then notice what that does to your awareness of the skull, and let the skull relax. Be aware of the back of the head, where the head and the neck meet. Let that really soften. We tend to hold an awful lot of tension there. Let the back of the neck be long and feel the head just atop the spine. So most of us have a tendency to pull the head forward. and to tense the back of the skull. But here we're just letting everything come to alignment, and notice where the gaze is. If you just let the gaze be soft, focusing more on the somatic experience of the eyes, the balance of the eyes, more than what you're looking at, and see, is that higher, lower, more to the left or more to the right than what you, where the gaze was a moment ago. Okay, so now we're going to explore a little bit of, I'll demonstrate it and then you can do the same. So we're gonna take the hands, don't do it yet because I don't want you to become fatigued, but I'll demonstrate it. We're gonna take the hands and we're gonna place them one over the other on the chest, on top of the sternum, the breastbone. Doesn't have to be an exact placement, just on the chest. So we'll do that. I'm just demonstrating, and then you'll do it when I tell you, so you don't become fatigued. And we're going to let them rest there, and we're going to let the hands and arms be heavy so that you can feel the weight of the arms and hands on the chest without pressing, but just feel the natural weight. So the shoulders, arms, and hands become very relaxed. And then we're going to tip the head to one side. And so what's going to happen is the side that we're tipping the head to, that side of the neck is going to shorten, the other side is going to lengthen. And I want you to then imagine like there's a little balloon on that ear that's pulling gently up so that you can feel that lengthening in the side of the neck. And then we're going to let the eyes relax here so they're not, the gaze is just soft, and we're going to breathe. We're going to take a nice inhalation, a nice exhalation, and then we're going to come back to center. So that's the movement. So now we can all do that together. So you're going to take your hands, doesn't matter which one is on top of the other, whatever's comfortable for you, place them on the chest and let them be heavy and relaxed so you can feel the arms on the chest. Let the shoulders be relaxed, let the arms be heavy. You can feel the weight of the arms on the chest. And then you're going to tip the head to one side. It doesn't matter which side. We're going to do both. So whichever side, you just choose one. And let the eyes, just let the gaze be soft and relaxed. So wherever the eyes naturally want to go, let them go there. And feel as if there was a little balloon gently lifting the ear that's higher so that that side of the neck gently lengthens. And then you're going to inhale. Exhale. Feel the weight of the hands on the chest so the chest can really soften on that exhalation. And then gently, slowly bring the head back to upright. And then relax the hands for a moment. So then just notice the two sides of the neck. So this can seem like nothing, or it can seem like a lot, depends. But again, whatever your experience is perfect for you. So trust in the simplicity of it and just bring your attention to noticing whatever you notice and let go of whatever you can let go of so that you can allow this newness to open you up and to integrate into you. Okay, and then let's bring the hands to the chest again. If you'd like, you can change the cross of them. And we're going to do the same to the other side. So just what we did, but in the opposite direction. So just tip the head to the side and let your eyes be relaxed. So just let them go wherever they go. Don't strain them to hold the gaze in a fixed location. Let the eyes relax. And then inhale, feel the inhalation under the hands should fill the belly and the chest. And then as you exhale, feel the chest soften under the hands. And then bring the head back. And relax the hands. And again, just notice whatever you notice, whatever the experience is. It could be you could experience it as pleasant. It could be, you might perceive it as unpleasant. You might perceive it as big experience, or like as if nothing has happened. All of that is fine. Just let it all come and go non-judgmentally. So just let the experience come and go. And see if you can notice any other low-hanging fruit. So are you more aware of anything now, maybe in the shoulders, maybe in the neck, maybe in the rib cage, sides of the ribs, maybe in the chest, maybe somewhere else. But wherever you notice that, if you notice something that you can let go of, surrender, then just do so. Just let that go. Okay, now we're going to bring the hands to the chest and let the mouth open a little bit. And then you're going to move the mouth to one side. So I'll say, we'll all go to the right, just so I can give the proper direction. So we'll move the jaw to the right. And then you're going to turn the head to the right, while the jaw also is to the right. And the eyes also. And then you're going to lift the right ear. And breathe. Exhale, feel the chest soften. And then slowly release the head back to center. So that, maybe I should have given that instruction before we did it all together. It was a little bit complicated. So we'll do that one again after we do the other side. We'll so that everybody can be sure to be able to do it. So I'll give the instruction here for the other side before we all do it, and that way hopefully it'll be clearer. So what we're going to do is we're going to slightly open the mouth, and we're going to move the jaw, keeping everything else relaxed and still. The jaw is going to move to the left. Then the eyes will move to the left, and the head will turn to the left, and then the left ear will come up. So that everything stays to the left. So the jaw stays to the left, the eyes stay to the left, the head turns to the left, and then the ear comes up. We're going to inhale and then exhale, let the chest soften under the hands, and then come back to center. Okay, so let's do that together now. So hands on the chest, slightly open the mouth, turn the jaw to the left, only as far as is comfortable. So remember, this should always be within your range of comfort. Then the eyes to the left, the head turns to the left, and then the left ear comes up. Inhale, exhale, and then come back to center and relax the hands. And take a moment here just to notice what that strange movement might have opened up in you. So remember, with these, we're doing them with awareness so that we can breathe. So the movement might be very small. The main important thing is that it's done with awareness, gentleness, and slowness. And when done in that way, what happens is this will actually, it's surprising, but it quite profoundly can open up things all along the side of the jaw and neck. And there's an enormous amount of vascularity and innervation through there. And so it can have a very profound effect on the entire experience. Okay, so we'll do both sides of that again. So bring the hands to the chest, and remember, you are in charge of your experience. So don't push, don't strain, don't move beyond your present confidence and capacities. Okay, so we're going to slightly open the jaw. We're going to turn the jaw, just the jaw, to the right. Keeping the jaw to the right, we're going to turn the eyes to the right and then the head to the right. All of this is done slowly, as smoothly and relaxed as possible. And then the right ear goes up, just as much as is comfortable. Breathe, inhale, exhale, let the chest soften, and then come back to center and relax the hands. Okay, and then let's do the other side again. So we're going to place the hands on the chest, open the jaw a little bit, and then move the jaw to the left, eyes to the left, head to the left, all done slowly with awareness. And then the left ear goes up. Breathe, inhale, exhale, let the chest soften, and then come back to center and relax the hands. Now, we didn't get a baseline before of opening and closing the jaw before we did that movement. If we had, you would likely, not necessarily, but likely notice an improvement in the opening and closing of the jaw. But we can explore opening and closing the jaw now. So just slowly, at your own pace, open and close the jaw, and do it very slowly. And notice if there's any point at which you experience a hesitation, apprehension, strain, or limitation, and don't push beyond that. So it may be that you don't know how to open your mouth even an inch without strain. And if that's true, then you want to notice that rather than push through it. Or it may be that you can open your mouth very wide now with no limitation, and that would be wonderful. But whatever the case may be, just open and close the jaw slowly with awareness a few times, and notice how smoothly and pleasurably can you do that.
I'll be back in a minute.
So if you happen to be somebody who has a lot of jaw tension or TMJ stuff, it's possible you'd notice a significant change from having done that simple movement. Now, let's explore just opening and closing the jaw. So one thing when we open the jaw is that the jaw movement is actually quite complex. We can do, as we've seen, we can do lateral movements, but it also can do, it can open, so it can open and close, it can move side to side, and it can move a little bit forward, in and out, forward and backward. And so this time we'll open and close the jaw, and just notice as you open the jaw, is your jaw moving forward in space? Is it moving backward in space? Or, excuse me, neither. So just be aware of that. So some people may notice a tendency to pull back on the jaw, to suck it back when opening the jaw. So it might look like something like this. And that's unnecessarily strenuous. I mean, I'm exaggerating there, but you could feel if you're pulling the jaw back, it may just be a habit. So now when you open and close the jaw, this time, imagine letting the jaw release down and out. And see what that experience is like. Okay. Now the jaw and the neck is very connected to the eyes, and so you may notice change in your vision, change in your eyes. Maybe you might notice more or less tension around the eyes. So let's just take a moment and we'll just palm the eyes. So let's rub the hands together, just gently, and kind of run the fingers between. I'm doing it kind of fast, but you could, just to slow it down, you see, kind of run the fingers between one another, and notice that you can kind of make little circles so they get between, both ways of interlacing you can do as you're running the fingers between one another. And then bring the hands, the palms over the eyes. And relax the shoulders and the elbows. And then let this really be a relaxation for the eyes. Let it be nourishing for the eyes. So let everything around the eyes relax. Here, we're not pressing on the eyeballs. We're gently cupping. So there's a little bit of space between the palm and the eyeball. But the eyes are covered by the palms. And just hold it here as long as it's comfortable. So it might be that you don't know how to relax the shoulders or the arms enough, and so it seems strenuous. Just play with being able to relax everything, and you'll find that you can do it in a really comfortable way. But at first, you may not know how to do that. So don't strain. If you need to let the arms relax, let the arms relax. But for as long as you can do this comfortably, let the palms rest over the eyes. And just enjoy letting the eyes relax, letting the muscles around the eyes relax. It's very calming for the nervous system. Your hands are partially on the forehead, so you can also let that be a reminder for the forehead muscles to relax. You can let the eyeballs even roll up a little bit in the sockets if you find that relaxing. If not, don't. But if you find it relaxing, you can let them roll up a little bit in the eye sockets. And remember to breathe. And remember that if it's strenuous on your arms, just relax the arms. And then whenever you're ready, bring the hands down. Okay, so I want to do many more things I want to do, but we'll just do a little bit of breathing before we conclude with our peace inquiry for the day. I also want to acknowledge that some of these explorations, some of the movements that we've done today, I learned from Susan Koenigs, who is a Hannah Somatics educator. And so I want to make that acknowledgement. Okay, so let's now bring our awareness to the breath. And if you find that if you find you're unable to adequately or satisfactorily relax the breath while seated, you may transition to lying down if that's better for you. But if you're able to do it seated, we'll continue this exploration seated. Sometimes initially it's very challenging to learn how to relax the breath when seated. So as I say, if you need to do it lying down in order to do so, that's fine. And just notice, you can close the eyes and just become aware of the breath. And notice where in the breath feels comfortable, where feels strained, where do you have confidence, where do you lack confidence in the breath. And see if you can just start to relax the breath. So we've actually done surprisingly a lot to free up the chest. A lot of the time we have a very tight chest that makes for very uncomfortable breathing. So you may find that your breathing is more relaxed now than normal. You may find that that's not true, of course. But whatever you notice, just see what can you relax. So can you soften the chest? Let the head, if you're seated, let the head be in alignment with the spine so that it's just resting atop the spine. If we're straining to keep the head up, that will tense our torso and make our breathing restricted. So we want to let the head be resting atop the spine. And of course, if you're accustomed to sucking in the gut, then that's going to make for some uncomfortable breathing. So see if you can relax the abdomen, let the abdomen be soft. And just see if you can allow for the breath to be natural and relaxed. Now that might be a bit of a stretch depending on your level of habitual tension, but you might be surprised. Maybe you can actually discover a truly natural and relaxed breath if you just relax into it and trust in the intelligence of nature to do that for you rather than you having to do it. So the inhalation can be natural and satisfying without being overly large or exaggerated, without straining up into the collarbones and the throat. By allowing all of that to be relaxed and allowing the abdomen to be soft, you might find that you can get a nice, gentle, natural inhalation. And the exhalation can be also gentle and natural. Maybe you see what's possible. So there's not a set rhythm. We're not counting. We're not trying to get as big of a breath as possible. We're not trying anything here other than just awareness, tuning into what's happening and seeing where the strain is, where we can let go of that strain, how we can allow for the intelligence of nature to take care of these things that are already provided for. So the breath is already provided for, that intelligence is already operating in the body. We just have to allow it. We can allow for the intelligence of the innate structure, the skeletal system, to take the load. But it's a surrender. We have to consciously attend to all of the habits of strain, the habits of effort, the habits of all of these things, avoidance, and just allow and surrender and release and trust. And perhaps we find, hopefully we find, that the support is here. It's got us. We haven't died yet, even though sometimes it can be a little scary. Sometimes it can be a lot scary. Okay, so now we've taken all this time to calm the nervous system, to release so much compulsive, habitual, violent tendencies in the system. And we're, at least to some degree, resting and trusting in the natural intelligence that has us here. So now we can notice some things about this. We can notice that as we soften and relax, as we non-judgmentally allow and witness the experience, that even though we're not armoring, we're not defending, we're not straining in our normal way, even though our normal defenses are not up, at least not to the same degree as usual, actually there's an okayness here. We are okay. We are still here, even though the normal defenses that we have come to think we need are temporarily, at least, not being indulged. And so what this tells us, actually directly, it reveals to us, if we take this moment to notice it, is that we don't need those defenses, that we exist and we're okay without them. So it's important to acknowledge that. It's important to actually notice that. As simple as it may be, it's very helpful and necessary to acknowledge that in your direct experience, to notice, yes, it's true, my normal defenses are not as activated, and yet I am okay, I am here. And then perhaps you can even notice, more than okay, actually, there's an ease, an an unusual for you ease, hopefully. So when we surrender the habitual defensiveness, the habitual strain, the habitual efforting, the habitual protective shell, the direct experience is I am okay, I am at ease. And you can perhaps notice something about this. If you observe right now, you can notice that this, we'll call it presence, that you are, your presence, your existence, just the simple being, not only does not depend on those defenses, but actually when you observe it right now, hopefully, perhaps you can notice that it's totally without any boundary, that it's vast, it's open, and it's free. And then perhaps you can notice that this vast, open freedom that you are presently has no problem in this moment. And it is the essence of true peace. So there's no war happening right now in this openness. So now the inquiry is to explore how this true peace, this openness, this freedom can be manifest in our bodies, our minds, our relationships, our families, and our communities. So we start from this awareness of this fundamental peace, which we discover through this inquiry. So the inquiry leads us to this discovery, regardless of the details and particulars of the experience. But fundamentally, it leads us to this discovery if we choose to recognize it. So that's why I'm pointing it out, so that we can all recognize that. And then furthermore, we're looking to see now, is it possible that what we discover here, this expansiveness, this freedom, this peace, can actually be expressed in our manifest lives, in our bodies, in our minds, in our communities, in our families, in our homes? So that's the inquiry. To go from this direct experience of spaciousness and peace to now, can this be expressed? Can it be manifest in our lives? So just notice as you envision that or imagine that possibility of peace expressed in your life, peace made manifest in your body, in your mind, in your relationships, and so forth. Is there any objection that surfaces? Is there anything in you that says, no, that's not possible? Is there any hesitation or apprehension, any objection? And of course there will be. So wherever you notice that, here, rather than having judgment about that, or rather than digging your heels in metaphorically and defending that position, simply just note that, just be aware that there is an objection, there's a limitation, there's a belief that's being seen that reveals, here's where I think peace cannot be expressed. And we just want to see that, just notice that, and notice, how does it feel? Is there any sense of inner activity, tension, armoring, posturing, scheming, defensiveness that you notice that co-arises with that? So it's not to have judgment about that either. It's about observation. So just notice that. And then just allow all of that to come and go as it does. So we're not forcing anything at all, but just observing. And as you allow that to come and go, then just ask yourself, do I really want that? Is it worth it to me to make that effort to maintain and defend that position and that posture? Do I really want that any longer? Is it useful to me? And you may find quite naturally and easily that it's clear that you don't want that. You don't want to defend it. It's not worth it to you any longer. And in that case, then just have the clear intention that I release it. I see it. I see it clearly. I see that it's not useful. And I just choose to let it go. And then one more time, notice, invite this direct recognition of this vastness, this vast openness, this direct experience of true peace that's here now. Before you think about it, before you do anything, just open to that for one moment. And then begin to imagine the possibility of this true peace expressing and manifesting in your mind, in your body, in your heart, in your relationships, in your home, in your community, in your career, in your country, in the world. And just notice wherever there's any objection, limitation, that anything that surfaces that says no. And just see that and tell the truth that that's there. It's a belief. It's an impression. You don't need to take it personally. You don't need to defend it. You don't need to ignore it. You don't need to fight with it. You don't need to judge it. Just see it. Just acknowledge there it is. And just allow it to open up and unfold so that you can see all the component pieces. Notice how it feels. How does it feel in the body? Is there any tension? Is there any defensiveness? Are there any memories that go along with that? Any images? Any thoughts? Any emotions? And just notice all of that non-judgmentally. Just see it. And then ask yourself the question, do I really want to defend all of that and hold on to all of that? Is that really worth it to me? And if not, then all you need to do is just make the choice. I choose to let that go now. You don't have to get rid of it. You don't have to do anything, but just having that intention now that you have seen it, it's seen for what it is. And so there you have that knowledge, truthful knowledge. And from that truthful knowledge, you can make an informed choice to just say, that's no longer of any value to me. I choose to let it go. And then just feel that openness and freedom as you simply let that go. Okay. So thank you, everybody, for having the courage to explore your experience in this way. I really appreciate that about you. Thank you for joining me today, as always. And that's all for today. So blessings to you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.